Good morning. This is take 7 on two small verses in John 6:14 through 15. And it's take 7 because the more I talk about it, the more interesting and hard to kind of explain it is. We're on the heels of Jesus feeding the 5,000. We know that a crowd has come. They've heard of his miracles. They've heard of the wonders that he's done. There are many there that are coming to see the show, and some who are desperate to be touched by Jesus, and perhaps some ardent followers as well. And Jesus has had compassion on them in that rural area. He's fed them with a few small loaves and fishes that he multiplies, and they gather up baskets that are filled with what he gave them. And then we read this. After the people saw the sign Jesus had performed, they began to say, "Surely this is the prophet who's come into the world." Jesus, knowing that they intended to come and make him king by force, withdrew again to a mountain by himself. Okay, interesting on these levels. Remember that when John uses this word sign, it's not, he does more miracles than he does signs. So John, whenever he notices, he picks out one that is a clear sign of Jesus' identity or Jesus' mission or a foretaste of the kingdom, he calls it a sign. So remember, multiplying, or not multiplying, but the water into wine is a sign. This is also a sign for John. So something about this indicates who he is, and the people pick up on it. And they say, if Jesus can manipulate food in this way, if he can do a miracle in this kind, he must be the prophet that God promised. And their expectation was that prophet would actually be a political and military leader who would throw off the yoke of Rome. And so usher back a new age of prominence and prosperity for Israel. Politically independent, militarily strong, economically vibrant, right? Spiritually alive. That's what their expectation of the prophet. And so they are coming to make Jesus king by force. He senses what they're going to do, and he withdraws further up into the mountains all by himself. And I love this passage. There's another passage in John when Jesus basically says he would not give himself to them. Essentially, Jesus in every case defies what we project onto him as to who he's supposed to be and what he's supposed to do. Jesus knows fully the will of God and the heart of God and the mission of God. And Jesus will always stand outside of the mold that we want to press him into. And here, these people were trying to press him into a mold, and they could not see that Jesus first had to be the suffering servant of Israel, who would lay down his life, who had no interest in the nationality, the prominence of a nation. He was not invested in such a thing. He was very much invested in the people of Israel becoming the people of God, but not in the nation of Israel, the nation state. And I can't help but think in this day and age when Jesus is being used by political forces left and right, conservative and progressive, Republican and Democrat, and all in some ways trying to make Jesus into who they want him to be, that Jesus still defies our expectations and will walk away when we try to capture him by force. He is much bigger. We have to have a much bigger imagination for Jesus doing what we want him to do. And that makes him the Son of God. Grace and peace to you.